The economy is in the sewer. Our money is becoming worthless and people are scared. Naturally, the White House refusing to take action or even admit things don't look good. Today on MSNBC, the Biden administration repeated President Biden's puzzling claim, we're not in a recession, man. Watch.
Look, we are not in a recession. I want to be really, really clear on that.
The nation could be teetering on the edge of a recession. How will the White House prepare for that?
So, want to be clear, there are no meetings or anything happening like that in preparing for a recession.
No meetings, no recession, no problem. Why is the Biden administration pretending like nothing is wrong? Is it already too late to act? Joining me now, Fox News contributor, professor of business and economics at the King's College in Manhattan, Brian is here. It's Brian Brenberg.
We have no meetings planned at all to prepare for the eventuality of a recession.
Bank of England.
That sounds exactly right, actually. I bet that's exactly what's happening.
Could be our longest recession we've ever seen.
I mean, of course, Ron Klain is the guy you remember not long ago who said, well, inflation and supply chain are high-quality problems, right? Those are rich people problems. Yeah. So you're getting economic analysis from somebody who thinks like this. These guys want to play word games on recession, and the reason is because they actually don't know how to think about the economic moment we're in, and they have no ideas about how to get us out of it with good supply-side ideas. And so it's just word games until the midterm 5 days from now.
Yeah, it is gaslighting, because even if your policies cause these problems, and let's pretend they did, that's just
hypothetically speaking.
Yeah, let's say that bad monetary and bad fiscal policy caused this inflation and made it worse and worse and worse at every turn. You can still come up with a plan to counter that. They're not doing that because they have to admit all of those policies were wrong. Yeah. But my question is, what is the inflation ignoring going to look like post-mortem? When we come out of the election, or when we're in an actual recession and people are really hurting and dying and losing jobs and their life savings, what does it look like then?
Well, they're not going to be able to do anything because power is going to change hands. It's going to be divided government. That's good news, by the way. I think you can take a lot of the harmful spending off the table. But the problem is you've got the Federal Reserve in this situation where they do not know what to do. Most people probably didn't watch Jerome Powell yesterday at his press conference. It was a complete disaster because what he basically shared with the world was, we don't know what's going on and we really don't know what to do going forward, which means the administration should be preparing for a recession. Everybody who's looking at this objectively, not as a partisan, but objectively, is saying we're probably going to go deeper into recession next year. So we should think about what to do about that.
How would you not have meetings about that? I mean, how could the Fed chair and the president's press secretary be so incredibly disconnected from each other? And so my question for you, how does Jerome Powell still have a job? And has he completely lost control of the situation?
These guys should all be out of jobs. I mean, all of them, because he's driving blindfolded and Democrats are in the back seat screaming at him to ease money. I mean, that's actually what's happening. You've got senators writing letters to Jerome Powell saying, I think you should back off those interest rate increases a little bit. I mean, that's the situation that we're in. But they're not disconnected. Oh, they're all very connected. You heard the messaging right there. Let me be clear. We're not even talking about recession. Folks, they're not trying to solve economic problems. They are only trying to solve their messaging problems because they know the economy is their number one messaging problem. And they probably have run out of time, but they certainly feel like they've still got a chance somehow to salvage this election. I don't think they do.
But you can't run a country with a liberal arts degree. Someone has to know math at some point. And that's what people do. When people are bad at math, they're like, you know what, I'm going to major in dance, which is fine. You can't run the country when you're majoring in dance.
I don't even care what your major is, as long as you're somebody who can connect dots and think. The problem with this administration is there's no logic at all because their ideology isn't about things that connect logically. It's more a religious fanaticism about the climate apocalypse and what can we do now to feel good about that. That's who's running this thing.
So let me ask you this. If Brian Brenberg were anointed president of these United States, not even elected, because we're going to be
I would only take it on an anointing basis, okay?
Right. What kind of person would you appoint as Fed chair to fix this problem?
I would pick somebody who is singularly interested in inflation and the change in the value of money. That's who I would pick. I don't want anybody who's interested in employment. I definitely don't want anybody who's interested in DEI initiatives or whatever other climate change initiative. I mean, that's the problem with the Fed, actually. Over the past 2 years, that's what they've been thinking about. They put all their time into that. They poo-pooed inflation. Now you get to this point and they don't know what to do. Yeah. But beyond, I would want somebody who's thinking inflation, but I would want somebody in my administration. The big deal is I'd want somebody saying, how do we get the supply side going? Yeah. Because right now we're trying to kill consumers to kill inflation. That is a stupid approach when your problem is supply side, growing the economy, getting businesses hiring and moving. We still got millions of people who should be in the workforce on the sidelines. You're not going to get through inflation unless you fix that problem. Nobody's talking about that.
They're going to be joined by a lot of people, and because of the housing crisis, they're all going to be homeless.
Yeah.
And they're going to be buggering all of us, and I don't envy that position at all.
Let me be really, really clear. These guys don't have a clue.
They don't have a clue. Brian Brenberg does. That's why he is the personification of Brianomics. Thank you, Brenberg. Good to talk to you.